Number 15. Shortly after moving into their new apartment, this couple began to feel watched, so they installed a camera in the bedroom. A few nights later, they record a full-grown adult standing outside of their window. At first, he is so focused on staring into their bedroom that he doesn't even seem to notice or care about how obvious he stands out against the well-lit parking lot. When the couple inside walks closer to the window and gets on the bed, he tries to be a little more cautious but fails miserably. It's pretty obvious that he is still there and eagerly looking straight at them. He is about as close to the window as he can be, and he is probably really getting into the idea of watching them without being seen himself, not knowing that he himself is on camera. They can see him the entire time, and this is the exact moment that the boyfriend goes out and confronts the man, who quickly stands up and shows no aggression as he walks away. It turns out to actually be their neighbor next door. He came over and apologized the next day, but something tells me that this is a compulsion that he cannot help, and soon enough he will be back at it again, if not with them, then with someone else. Number 14. This street cam records a beverage truck spinning out of control around the corner and launching liter bottles of soda everywhere. A student, judging from his backpack, has to sprint the other direction and barely avoids a carbonated tidal wave. There's also a surge of heavy red crates traveling at a high rate of speed. At the end, it kind of looks like these could have been steel cans, but I'm not sure. If so, each one of them would have hit with the force of a baseball bat, and I can't believe it, but he managed to avoid every single one. Number 13. A Russian astronaut recently found a hole inside of their spacecraft, and no one knows how it got there to begin with. Watch this part and try to translate what he is saying if you can. Perhaps it will give us some clues.
Привел в отсек осу, где за накладкой мы обнаружили 2-миллиметровое отверстие, куда уходил наш воздух.
The hole appears to be man-made and even covered with a piece of material to conceal it, which to me indicates an act of intentional sabotage. My only question is, why would someone drill a hole in the wall to begin with? The wall does not seem to be very important, and they can still fully operate the spacecraft regardless. The hole appeared after the Russian craft docked aboard the International Space Station. Now NASA and Russia are working on a secret investigation to determine who created the hole, and if it was sabotage. Let me know what you think happened on this spaceship based on what you've seen in this video. Number 12. This leaked video supposedly captures a secret anti-gravity experiment conducted by the government in broad daylight. A military helicopter rises in the air without moving its blades, all while making a magnetic humming sound the entire time. Listen to how bizarre distorted droning becomes more distant as the helicopter somehow flies away. There definitely seems to be something aboard causing that sound, perhaps an experimental anti-gravitational device. I don't know about you, but that definitely does not look or sound like a normal helicopter to me. I have heard that helicopters can sometimes look like this depending on the camera that's recording it, but if someone could provide me with a more concrete explanation, I would really appreciate it. Until then, I have to wonder if this really was a government anti-gravity experiment taken within plain sight of the public. Number 11. While on vacation in South Africa, Emily Sawyer dares to climb into the shark tank with some of her friends. She is full of adrenaline and can't help but nervously grip the cage bars out of stress. Soon a giant shark comes prowling along the cage and wants a closer look at the potential meal inside. The tour guides try to keep the shark distracted with a piece of bait on a pole, but it lunges at the last second and chomps where Emily's hands just were. All the other girls can do is watch as the shark almost makes a meal out of their friends' hands. I'm surprised there is not a second outer cage to keep this from happening. Emily got away lucky, but maybe it's just a matter of time before someone pulls back a stump. Number 10. This slow motion video captures a man peeling around a corner as fast as he can, and soon you see exactly what has him moving so fast. A gigantic cheetah literally bounces off the wall in pursuit. The video ends before we exactly get to see what happens next. Maybe this cheetah really did come in straight from the jungle, or maybe it was kept as a household pet until one day it simply snapped. Whatever the case may be, I doubt it ended well for the person running away. Then again, I have no idea why he would just happen to have a camera set up to catch this event perfectly, so maybe it was scripted after all. Let me know what you think is going on here, and also tell me if you have any more background information that can help us put this video in better context. Number 9. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Well, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper, but since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are 2 glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. Number 8. A YouTuber captures an apparition on his doorbell cam that somehow changes shape and color. First, it has an oversized white head with no face, then it becomes see-through to the point where you can make out the bush behind it, and then it switches to a blinding white color without getting thinner. The whole time it somewhat resembles a human in height and gait, but how? Since this is the only footage of the apparition, we may never know. Number 7. If you ever ride on the subway in Toronto, you might want to stay far away from the doors. They've been opening on their own at the very worst of times, like while the train is still moving at full speed over bridges or in total darkness through tunnels. If anyone was standing nearby when this happened, they could have easily lost their balance and been sucked out. These Toronto subway incidents, while rare, have been spread out over the years and seem to indicate a long-term problem. It first happened in 2009, then again in 2013, and once more in 2016, which is about every 3 or 4 years. With that in mind, this might be the unlucky year that it all happens again. Number 6. This house is supposedly haunted, and the family room reportedly has the most activity out of anywhere. As you can see in this close-up shot, there is nothing out of the ordinary about this mirror at all, but once the paranormal investigation is underway, a woman's colorless face appears in the upper left quadrant. She is staring directly at the camera with 2 black holes for eyes. Her thin lips and nose clearly visible. As far as I can see, there is nothing in the room that could cast such a strangely vivid reflection. Number 5. Michael Manzo thinks there is something wrong with the snow. He grabs some from outside and attempts to melt it with a butane lighter. For some reason, it becomes blackened by the flame but otherwise remains in one solid piece.
No moisture. No dripping. Look at this.
Next, Michael takes more snow and holds it over an open stove.
No moisture. Look at this. No drippage.
Somehow, the snow fails to melt in the slightest despite being held over an intense heat source twice. This leads Michael Manzo to conclude that this is some sort of artificially modified substance. made to look like snow, presumably from weather experiments of some kind. Let me know what you make of this video, because I honestly have no idea how this could be possible. Number 4. Two friends explore a park in North Hollywood after hearing reports of a maniac approaching random people. Soon they grow bored and decide to try to test the visual range of their night vision camera for fun. He tells his friend to keep moving back until she is barely visible.
It's on night vision. Keep going.
Soon she is little more than an outline of a black silhouette against the night sky. When she is a good distance away, something that's been watching them the entire time snatches her into the shadows.
Just stop playing around, it's not funny.
If this video is real, then whatever grabs her possesses impossible strength and speed. It picks her up off her feet like she weighs nothing at all, which makes me wonder how big this creature is and how it manages to move so fast without any sound. Number 3. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Danny returns to a haunted chapel that has given him a bad feeling in the past. He is taking another look around when he detects shuffling in the next room over.
What the hell was that?
When he goes to check out the next room, it proves to be just as empty as the first. He doesn't see anything unusual and soon begins to record various plaques on the wall out of interest. Danny is looking over the names of soldiers when he casually sees something paranormal sticking out from behind a doorway.
Ah! Oh my god!
The scream in his throat sounds very real as he turns to find the unmistakable outline of a nun's head staring through him. It happens very quickly and it's hard to tell if it really is a ghost or not. Before you say fake though, first hear me out. The nun sighting happens at approximately 2 minutes into the video. Yet here you can see the doorway is completely empty at 1 minute 45 seconds, a full 15 seconds prior. The video appears to be taken in one continuous take with no editing. Therefore, I believe there is a strong possibility that this sighting is real. Number 2. A YouTuber named Spunkflunk recorded this video with the innocent intention of asking people to follow him on Google+. Little did he realize the paranormal moment that he accidentally caught while filming the video. If you look at the doll on the bed at the 29-second mark, you will clearly see that the doll moves its hand to the side and then back down.
Click add to circles and then just click following. That'd be awesome. It'll only take like a few seconds and that'll get me to 1,000 followers.
The fact that it moves its hand back down makes me think this video was not done by a string. In addition, most of his recent videos have nothing to do with the paranormal. What do you think caused this bizarre moment? I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because we upload a new scary video every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. When a fire fills a downtown Philadelphia apartment building with smoke, one of the residents living at the top climbs all 19 floors down by himself with nothing but his bare hands. Thinking fast, he quickly devises a plan to climb down using the balcony columns for support. Firefighters and police have nothing to catch him with. If he falls, then the only assistance they can provide is by guiding him with flashlights and a giant spotlight. It does seem to help him find his way, but it could blind him as well, so they have to be careful to stay away from his eyes. Eventually, he touches the sidewalk and is safe. When you look at this view from the bottom, it's hard to believe anyone would be brave enough to make it all the way down this building without chickening out halfway. But I guess when the alternative is potentially losing your life, you don't have much of a choice. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!